Oh, thank you for coming here today and for your lovely daughters coming to cut the ribbon and open the building. I know you had a few words you wanted to say.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. It's a truly honor, for our family to be here and to represent all the families which has had your support, your precious support. Just also wanted to say that, as one of my daughters reminded me, our family became complete with the adoption of our second one through Family Futures. And after that, everything was made so much easier to know how to parent and to get guidance and support, and for us to become a very happy family. So a big thank you to you and to Alan for having created this beautiful space and home. And thank you to the whole team at Family Futures for your great support. And yes, thank you so much. And
I'm really lucky today to have Gary Heather, Deputy Mayor here to say a few words.
Well, thank you very much, Jay, and thank you everyone here for being at the full opening of the new building Family Futures. So I'm a councillor in Islington in Finsbury Park ward, which is in the next ward along, and I've been asked to come here today to on the official opening and the ribbon cutting and whatever, and it's a real pleasure to come along. And I was completely delighted when I came in here and I saw all of your smiling faces, because you all look so positive. And I haven't come across Family Futures before, but I was reading the information about your organisation, and I can see the brilliant work that you're doing in working with families and doing therapy for families, which is so important. There are people that struggle in life, and what your organisation is doing, you're reaching out and you're like healing families, and you're making it together, and it's really brilliant that the work you're doing. It's such a pleasure as the Deputy Mayor of Islington to come along and help you formally open your new building. And by the way, it's a beautiful building. And I really do appreciate being here, and I also wish you all the happiness in the future and a long happy stay here. So thank you very much for inviting me, and I look forward to participating in the rest of the proceedings and visiting again in the future. Thank you for that. Thank you.
like to introduce Jay Vaughan. But first, I'd like to say how pleased and proud we are of her at having been recently awarded an MBE in the Queen's Jubilee Honours List for her services to children and young people. So I'll hand over to you, Jay.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. Okay, well, it's amazing to be here today. It's unthinkable. 2 years ago, everything changed. The pandemic happened and we realised we needed to do something about our leased premises. And now here we are at the launch, the virtual launch of our new forever home, a building that we have amazingly bought. And there are all these people who are logging on to this virtual celebration. It is lovely to be here to celebrate the permanent home. It's taken time to settle in, but I want to say that the whole point of this building is for the children and young people. We wanted to specially design a space from scratch that was really going to work for us, and I feel that's what we've achieved. There is a bit more work to do to make it absolutely right, to get the styling the way we want it, but it's really, really great to be in and to have it looking as beautiful as you would have just seen it on the video. I think you've also heard now from Dee that I got awarded an MBE. Very strange. When I got the letter from the Cabinet Office, my first thought was, oh my goodness, what have I done wrong? It took me quite a while to read the information and take it in. I was so surprised. It really is a great honour for me to have this, but it's really a tribute to all the children and families that I've worked with over the years. And to the whole staff team, old and new at Family Futures, that's made this possible. So I'm really proud, and I want to thank everybody at Family Futures, the therapists, the social workers, Lynn on reception, everybody, all the behind the scenes, accounts team, HR team, everybody really is a very important part of all of this. We have been living through extraordinary times. There was a global pandemic, as you all know, the death of George Floyd, Black Lives Matter movement really being launched and taking off. We've had Partygate and a European war, to name just a few things. It has been an incredible time to live through. And in the midst of all of this, we do something quite crazy. We decide to buy a building. And we couldn't have done this without all of your help. That's only the thing that made it possible. I'm planning to thank everybody, but first of all, I wanted to tell you a little story. So once upon a time, there was a social worker, a therapist, and a parent mentor who got together as they believed that 6 months of sessions was not sufficient for children who'd come from the care system and were traumatized. We also believed that parents needed to be partners in the therapy. They needed to be in the therapy. They needed to be a part of that process and actively know what was going on. So to move away from individual confidential therapy and a term that's now called dyadic therapy. So that was really important to us. So Alan, Christine and I rented a few rooms from a good friend, Margot Sunderland at the Institute for the Arts. We had an £800 contract from Islington and we thought we'd set up Family Futures. We were all working part-time elsewhere. Alan had some ideas for a logo, but eventually, because we didn't want to get into copyright issues, he drew his own little stick figures, the stick figures that are known today as Family Futures. We grew gradually over time, and you're going to meet Griselda, I think she was our first therapist that joined the three of us later on. And we grew to around 10, and then we discovered there wasn't enough space. So we did something equally crazy. We decided that having reception on an answer phone in the corridor really wasn't working for us, and that we really needed a building. So despite having children, small children, we decided that we would remortgage our house and put the money into making over a leased premise so we could have a proper building and be a bit more of a grown-up organisation. So that was our first premises in Britannia Row, just down the road, as it happens, from the Institute for the Arts. Things continued to grow and we needed more space, but our next building, Floral Place, we managed to do without remortgaging our home. So that was great. And we were there for 15 years. But the team had grown to this point to 35. We were registered as an adoption support agency, then as a voluntary adoption agency, and more recently in 2020 as an independent fostering agency. And we were also importantly a community interest company, because from the very beginning we believed it should be not for profit, that there should be no profit made from the terrible things that children have had to live through, and that money should be put back into the organisation and used to support the work. We all loved Floral Place, but when the pandemic hit and we realised that there was no way we could afford the £8 million building that we were being told it would cost, we decided to look for another premise and to think about buying somewhere. It seemed a bit of a leap of faith. There were points where I thought, actually, this really isn't possible. There is just no way we can do this. It's crazy. How can a leased building be so much more expensive than a premise that we buy? But it turned out that it's true. I phoned someone called Mark at Fitzpatrick's Team Development, who you're going to meet, part of his team later on in this call. And I rang him, I was off work, and I thought, well, I'll just ring him to find out. So I made this call, and he said, oh, I've got this building. Why don't you pop down and have a look? And that's when we found Hornsey Road. It looked terrible. It was derelict, in a terrible mess. It was full of charity boxes of clothes and all sorts of rubbish. But in it, we could see that it had potential. It could become something really special. And it had the lovely things of being just tucked off the main road. It had its own car park. We could see a possibility of a little garden. And it was backed onto by houses, which meant we'd have quiet in the building. So I know some people really like the trains. Some children in particular really like the trains. But sadly, we have no trains here. And a number of us are quite pleased by the quiet when working. So we decided the place was perfect. And we found a bank, Unity Trust Bank, that you're going to hear from later on from someone called Matthew. And he believed in our vision. Laura, the accountant of Family Futures, was really good at explaining to him and negotiating what was possible. We had various options to look at, and she wanted Unity Trust Bank right from the beginning because they felt like they were a really good fit for us and they really believed in what we were doing. So we began this terrifying process of buying the building, giving up our lease on Floral Place, unpacking it, and starting building works on Hornsey Road. It felt at times like we were on a precipice, hoping all the bits fell into place and worrying that it might not. And then they did. And so here we are today. It's amazing to have got to this point. It did feel like a dream a lot of the time. I still sometimes can't quite believe it. So it is extraordinary. There are so many people I want to thank. And I'm worried that I'm going to forget someone. So if I've forgotten you, please accept my apologies in advance. But a huge thank you, because it's everybody's help. It's a sense that Family Futures has a community that really made the difference and made this possible. I want to first of all thank the children, young people and their families for putting up with us leaving Floral Place, the packing up around them, us then having to move to temporary accommodation, which we promised them we wouldn't do, but we had to. Then moving into half-finished Hornsey Road while we had building works going on in part of the building, carefully walled off so it was all health and safety fine, and while we were still unpacking around them. It was really stressful on the families, but bless, everyone was really tolerant, really reasonable about it, really understanding and managed it. So a huge thank you to everybody, children, parents, for putting up with this very difficult transition process, really. I want to thank the Family Futures team. They're an amazing group of people, which you already know. They battled on, looking after families throughout the pandemic, and they battled on throughout the move, continuing to look after the families. Some of the group I know were scared about their health, probably as all of us around the world at points were scared about what the COVID virus would mean. Some people were scared they might lose their jobs. If Family Futures didn't manage to do this transition, didn't manage to survive the pandemic, they might end up without a job. So it was a really scary time, but you managed as a team. You managed in ways that were unimaginable. You managed to do therapy assessments on Zoom. We would never have contemplated this. You did therapy and assessments in parks, in gardens, maybe not assessments in parks, but you did extraordinary things that weren't part of what would be normal working. I also know that the team started early in the morning, finished late at night, and did things on weekends. It became all-consuming, trying to keep everything going. And as nothing else was happening, people were doing a lot of overworking. Just let the bike go past. So I want to continue with thanking people, but it's a huge thank you to all the staff at Family Futures. You've been amazing. You put up with so much, and I know it's been challenging. And it's incredible to have such a wonderful, committed staff group. And I really want to make sure publicly everybody knows how amazing you've been throughout the whole process. I want to thank the management team, whose determination and vision and team effort has been incredible, because what we had was the therapy team's job and the social workers and everyone's job was to keep the families looked after and to keep everything going. And the management team's job was to do the building move. And that's how we split things. Managers did all sorts of crazy things. They worked very long hours, absolutely, but they unpacked, packed, cleaned, tidied, lugged, carted, ridiculous things that we were all doing, and all unpaid, all in their own time on weekends and evenings. So a huge thank you to the management team. Without your absolute determination that we were going to do it, team effort, it wouldn't have happened. I want to thank the amazing friends and loved ones and staff who also came on weekends to help the sorting, packing, tidying, cleaning, lugging, moving, all unpaid. Over weeks and months, everybody in the team pulled together so that we could be up and running, only in half the building, mind you, on the 4th of January at Hornsey Road. So next, I want to thank Mark and Rosanna Fitzpatrick, as well as Philip, and all the builders from Fitzpatrick Team Developments. They also worked late into the night, weekends. They went above and beyond what builders normally do. They worked to make sure that we didn't just have a premise, but we had a wonderful space. They wanted it to be beautiful. They were keen on the vision. And actually, it was their idea to have the garden room, which is the central sort of light box in the building that is really the wow factor of the space. I want to thank Romina. Now, Romina is our bookkeeper, Zaren's daughter, who was a trainee architect at the time. And she very kindly helped us out by doing some 3D modeling of what the building would look like and helping us with the original design plans. So a huge thank you to Romina. I want to thank Unity Trust Bank for believing in family futures and knowing that we could actually do this and make this possible. Even, I think Matthew came and saw the site when it really was derelict and not looking good, but he could see what we could see. And he was really interested in looking around Floral Place, seeing all the rooms, hearing about what he did. He cared. And it was that caring, I think, that made us feel he's the right fit. This is the bank we want. I want to thank the Cloth Workers Foundation, who very generously donated a very large sum of money to help us get the building makeover done. I want to thank the Arsenal Gunners Foundation for their grant for the sensory rooms and their wish going forward for us to collaborate and have an ongoing relationship with them. I want to thank everybody who donated money. Loads of people donated money through GoFundMe, and some people just sent it in direct. It was incredible to have that sense of friends and family of Family Futures, that community that pulled together and helped us. We couldn't have done it without you. That money was absolutely vital because it was really tight. I want to thank my mum, who made me the determined, multitasking, driven woman that I am. Hopefully she's somewhere on the screen. Okay, home. Myself together. Hold on 1 minute. I want to thank my sister Fiona, who put up with the endlessly moaning that goes on, and she just was always there to listen. So I'm going to just take a minute. I want to thank my children, Sam, Charlotte, Neil and Greg, plus their partners, plus the grandchildren, for putting up. This wasn't planned. I was going to do this, for putting up with the obsession for Family Futures to me. Yeah, but they continue to support it, believe in it. So it's amazing. I also want to thank other members of the management team's families, because other children came along to help and other partners. So we had a huge lot of support in the practical doing. And last but not least, I want to thank Alan, who retired in the just before the pandemic, and then discovered that we were full on in sort of crisis mode trying to survive the pandemic. And he has provided extensive consultation support at home, numerous cups of coffee. They slide across the floor in my office. He opens the door and he slides them into me. Sandwiches when I haven't had time to have lunch, and just endlessly putting up with me. And finally, thank you to everyone for everything you've done to make this possible. Now, deep breath. Thank you. Oh, I've got something else to do now. Okay,
We're
hold on 1 minute.
Rosanna.
Thank you. Rosanna is Rosanna Fitzpatrick. She is Mark's wife. Mark and Rosanna Fitzpatrick have largely headed up all of the building works at Family Futures. Mark's dad, Philip Fitzpatrick, has also been involved, and there's been a whole team of the Fitzpatrick team developments team who've really helped us achieve this and worked so hard. I should say that dear Rosanna is ringing in to this to give her speech from Australia in the middle of the night, because the time we set this is not a good time for Australia. So over to Rosanna now.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Fitzpatrick, and this is Rosanna, my wife.
Good morning.
We're both very pleased and proud to be part of everything that has gone on in Hornsey Road over the last year or 2 years, perhaps, since Jay made that phone call on a Friday afternoon to me, asking if there was possibly any buildings I knew of in the Islington area. We've been known to Family Futures for a very long time. We were involved in the redevelopment of Floral Place, as Jay mentioned, which was the previous building that Family Futures occupied. So we did the work 15 years ago, and if they decide to move in 15 years' time, hopefully we'll be here to help with that. But I don't think that will be necessary, as that I think where they are now is really perfect, and you can see during Jay's speech there the passion and the drive and the belief in the whole process of helping the families from start to finish. She really put that, and the management team and all the employees and staff and everybody surrounding Family Futures, put that into the design and the build. It was really wonderful, and we feel very privileged and happy to have been able to be part of such a wonderful building development from like I think Jay mentioned before, that originally 100 odd years ago, it was where the horses were stables for the horses, for the drawn buses, for the milk floats, I think it was. And then after that, it became a glazer's workshop for 50 odd years. We owned the building for a few years, and we were in discussions with the council on how best to put it to use. We were talking of homeless shelters, and that's where all of the stuff that Jay mentioned, all the we'd used it as a winter shelter for people that were on the streets, and storage for sleeping bags and that kind of thing. We'd let a local charity use it while it was vacant. So that was a lot of the stuff that was in there in that video that you saw previously. So it was a big transformation. The building was it's had a lot of different uses over the years, and it was in a bad way. It was really looking a bit sorry for itself when the management team at Family Futures first saw it, and they had the vision of what it is today. So we're really pleased and proud of everything that's happened, and the work that everybody put in at Family Futures, all the 715 site meetings. It just really was. It was an unusual collaboration between builders and client, in the way that we all really had pulled together and worked very hard to get it done. I'm pleased that so many people are happy with the outcome, and the fact. Like Jay was saying there, it's a very emotional for everybody there. Everyone really feels deeply for what you do, and I'm just pleased to be part of it. And thank you very much for the kind words that you had to say about us, Jay, and a big congratulations to you for your recent award as well. That's wonderful, and you thoroughly deserve it. I'm not sure if there's much else that needs to be said by me, but I think we'll hand back to you there, Jay, if you're around.
Hello. Welcome back. I'm now here to introduce Matthew Conroy from Unity Trust Bank. Matthew, who I mentioned earlier on, really appreciated his passion and enthusiasm for what we did and his belief in us, and that he made it possible. So over to Matthew, who I know is going to say a few words.
Well, how to follow that? It's quite emotional with the video of the building and hearing both Jay and Mark speaking. But I'll do my best with some prepared words, if I can get them on the screen. Unity and Family Futures were introduced in December 2020 when Cluttons, a property firm who were acting as advisors on the Hornsey Road project to some extent, recognised that Unity might be a bank that could see the vision of what Family Futures were trying to create and might be keen to support the project. Now, we lenders are generally quite wary of the risks associated with funding development projects. So we approached with caution. Certainly, we were very cautious in our initial engagement. But quite quickly, having met Laura, Michael and Jay, and learning more about Family Futures history and activities and the positive outcomes that are achieved for the young people and families that it supports, it soon became more a question of how can we possibly say no to supporting this project. The plan, as Jay has mentioned, to move from rented to self-owned premises made absolute sense, and to have found a site that offered the opportunity to create a tailor-made building designed around its users and full of light and colour was understandably something not to be missed. I paint that previous picture as if we had any choice in the matter, but I really have to acknowledge as a key factor the persuasive powers of Laura Aleo, who's been our main point of contact through the development, and was a real pleasure and great professional relationship to deal with throughout. I don't know if anyone has any glasses charged. I do, and I'd like to raise a glass to Laura, if I may. Since starting the journey of agreeing the loan terms and then accommodating a number of changes before the project started and during the project, I have to say that our role was made all the easier. Firstly, by the professionalism and determination of Family Futures leadership team, and also the very unusual but also very evident flexibility and supportive approach provided by Fitzpatrick's. We wouldn't normally see that in a contractor working on a project, to be so kind of emotionally involved. So that I have to acknowledge that. To have achieved such a successful project through a series of external, sometimes global challenges, including pandemic, the restrictions that brought, the supply shortages that happened during the project, is a testament to the skills and ability and commitment of all those involved. At Unity, we're truly proud and honoured to have played a supporting role and look forward to a long and friendly relationship with the Family Futures team. And for those of you lucky enough to call Hornsey Road their place of work, wish you all the very best. And I'm going to go with another glass.
Thank you very much, Matthew. And now I'm going to introduce a friend, Griselda Kelly-Smith, who, as Jay has already said, was a therapist at Family Futures and has continued really to be a very generous supporter of the organisation. So look forward to hearing what she has to say.
I was just blown away by the video. I had no idea that you started with quite such chaos. I mean, you did tell us, Jay, but quite incredible, and really it's so exciting to hear of the massive commitment of the entire team. But it's I think very, very special, because I met up with Jay and Alan and Christine in the late 90s, and I was still training at a very great age to be a psychotherapist, and they scooped me up and they put me under their wing and just taught me massive amounts about families and sharing ideas and learning from each other. And it's so wonderful that tiny little core then has grown and grown and grown to 35 staff, a wonderful building, incredible relationship with bank and builders and everybody helping in the broadest sense, and really sort of systemic, all families and sort of feelers going out all over the place. And I'm not in the least surprised, Jay, that you've been awarded an MBE. It's wonderful. Congratulations, just terrific. I know Alan's got an award as well, so honestly, the two of you, you're terrific. And courage and vision were two words that I thought about, before I was thinking. And courage and vision you had in the 90s, and look where it's taken you. It's absolutely amazing. But I so agree. It's the children. It's the children who are the core of all this. And I think it was the learning from each other was the biggest thing for me. But really, it's the children, I think, who taught us all and continue to most, because somehow they're so spontaneous and so directly there and real, and keep one on the straight and narrow a bit, really. Massive courage. And another thing I was thinking about was tremendous hard work. It's hard work learning to become a family, mending, creating a family, quite painful sometimes, needing lots of courage. But the thing about Family Futures is that you can do it. There was always space to have fun. And that incredible building, there's space to do all kinds of things. The light comes in, the colors come in, it's just wonderful. So really all I want to say is congratulations to everybody. As we all know, Family Futures is incredibly special. You've created the sort of stability of a safe home, which is sort of quite a metaphor, isn't it, for what you do anyway. So, and lovely to see Dee still there. So exciting. Hello, Dee, who's a dear friend as well. So just congratulations, everybody. And I've got my class, and I'm certainly not waiting till the end.
No. So thank you, Grizzy. What a beautiful speech. Thank you so much. And it's so precious that we've had this really long relationship, and the support that you've given over the years is amazing. So thank you. I'm now going to move on and introduce Hannah. Hannah is an adoptee. She is a former service user, and she's recently done a podcast for Family Futures, which is really worth a look at. She's fantastic. And Hannah knows how highly I think of her and what a remarkable young woman she is. So over to Hannah.
Hi guys, I'm really sorry that I'm outside. I've just finished work, but I couldn't miss this for the world. I just want to say that Family Futures are an exceptional organisation who have helped me more than I could possibly say. When I first started therapy with Family Futures, I had difficulty trusting therapists and social workers, and Jay and Rebecca quickly changed that for me. They allowed me to open up in my own time and were always kind and calm with me, no matter what issues I was facing. They helped me understand myself, more about my past, and they taught me that the past doesn't define you, and you can go on to become whatever you want, and you can go on to do incredible things. And Jay taught me that I'm so much more than my trauma. Jay, as you know, I think you are absolutely wonderful. Jay is a kind, empathic person who wasn't just my therapist, but has become a dear friend to me. And I can never thank her enough for what she has done for me over the years. And I want to wish her the biggest of congratulations for her MBE. If anyone deserves it, it's you, Jay. So thank you so much for everything you've done for me. And I think the world of you.
Oh, Hannah, thank you so much. That's a beautiful thing to say. And you know how highly I think of you too. You are amazing. And I'm so proud of all that you've managed and all you've achieved and will achieve. Thank you. I'm going to make me cry again if you're not careful. So I'm going to hand over to Dee now quickly.
And I'm going to introduce Jason. He and his partner are new I Adopt parents, and we look forward to seeing what he has to say. They had a child placed, to us not so long ago.
Yeah, hi everyone. It's just me tonight because my husband Matt is doing bedtime and bath time right now. We had a little boy placed with us back in October, and throughout the whole process, FF has just been the most incredible support to us. It's absolutely true to say we would not be here today without everything that they've done and all the support they've provided. When we first came to you, we'd been rejected for quite a spurious reason from elsewhere, and were feeling very low and completely lacking in confidence. Right from the start, FF was empathetic, understanding, kind. They listened. They just took us through the process in a way that made us feel safe and confident, and that we could do it. Throughout the matching, the assessment, everything was so well planned, so thoughtful, taught us so much on top of what we'd already self-learned. So we came to matching and placement thinking, wow, they've been brilliant support, not realizing that they were really going to step up post-placement. We adopted a beautiful 5-year-old boy, but like many children in this situation, very deeply traumatized, and the first few weeks and months were very, very hard, and we found ourselves doubting whether we could do it, had some really dark moments, and at any point we knew we could reach out to our team at FF. They would be available, they would listen, they would understand, and they would offer practical help and supportive words to get it through. And our team very clearly went above and beyond. They were making time for us over the Christmas period, where they should have been enjoying their own time with their families. It was amazing hearing about all those weekends and late nights that went into making that building, because we felt the same for the support that was given to us at any time, any day. We knew that someone at FF would be there to help us. They've assisted us battling against the local authority, who even this week are being ridiculous about a couple of things. But I think the real sort of testament to the strength that our FF team have given us is that our little boy turned 6 this week, and it was just the most amazing, beautiful birthday for him, where you could see the transformation from previous years. He's come on so much already. My husband had chickenpox and COVID. I had to go on an unexpected work trip, and those are all the things that, on top of a birthday that could be a trigger anyway, had us really fearful. But the birthday was wonderful, and my husband and I just could not be more grateful for everything FF has done and continues to do with us. We would not have adopted without you, and that little boy would not be in his forever family, making so much progress. So thank you to absolutely everyone that has helped to make this building a reality, and we can't wait to come and do some therapy sessions there.
Oh, thank you, Jason. That was really lovely to hear your speech. Really lovely to hear your experience of Family Futures, and it is what we want it to be, that feeling that we are available, we will help you, we will stick by your side, we will fight alongside with you. We maybe can't make it all better all of the time, but we'll do everything we can to try and make it possible and to help and make you and your child feel happy and safe. So that's fantastic. I'm now going to move on to introduce Daniel. Daniel is an adoptee. He's a former service user, and he attended Family Futures from the age of 9 to his early 20s. He's also someone, he knows how highly I think of him, and our long-standing relationship has been really, really important to me as well. Okay, handing over to you, Daniel.
Yes, well, I promised myself I was not going to get emotional here today, but I have become a little bit tearful more than once, hearing all of the lovely stories. Obviously, a huge congratulations to Family Futures for the actual new premises itself. I've been to see it. It's lovely. As always, very bright, lots of colourful cushions and toys, and wonderful, warm environment for young children and families to be in. So obviously, Jay mentioned I first went to Family Futures when I was 9, so that would have been 1994. So a long time ago. I was probably one of the first people, I suppose, that went there for therapy. The work they do is incredible. It's life-changing. It certainly had an impact on my life, and has sort of shaped a lot of who I've become throughout my entire life. You know, I suppose, I mean, every child needs love, needs to feel safe, needs to, you know, feel like they can achieve in life and that they're cared for. But with adopted children, fostered children, obviously it's far more difficult for them to achieve those feelings when they've had attachment problems. I know that when I first moved in with my family, who are here, I think, watching, but I genuinely didn't quite believe it when they said, you know, excuse me, when they said that this is, you know, forever. I didn't believe it. And a lot of the work that Family Futures did, particularly with us together, was forms of therapy, and you would have certain sessions where the whole aim of the session was to build trust with the parent, to obviously feel nurtured and cared for. I, in fact, have a very vivid memory of one of these sessions that I failed horribly, which was a course of cushions had been laid out around the room, and it was a route I was supposed to take around the room. However, I was supposed to be blindfolded and allow my parents to lead me around the room. I didn't do that. I rushed around without the help of my parents because I was used to relying only on myself. You know, I didn't want to rely on other people. You feel like you're just going to be let down by them. And actually, although I didn't succeed on that particular day, over the years, with, you know, a combination of the therapy I had and also my unbelievably patient and understanding parents, who I think the support they'd have received and the advice they would have been given about the sort of special considerations that are going to crop up maybe with someone who's got, you know, a traumatized childhood, I can genuinely say it has led to me having a completely loving relationship with my family. I adore my parents. We have a truly normal life, and I am a confident, happy person. I think Hannah touched on it earlier that, you know, Jay really does make you achieve this feeling of your past definitely does not define you. You know, these things can happen. Obviously, some very sad things can happen. But when you process this stuff correctly, you should hopefully be able to move forwards with optimism for a happy, normal future. And I can only imagine how my life may have turned out had I not had that support. What Family Futures does really is wonderful. And yeah, obviously, Jay, thank you so much for everything. Obviously, I've known you most of my life, actually, and huge congratulations on your award. You know, obviously, you deserve it more than anybody could. You're just so incredible as a person. And again, I'm so happy for you as an organisation to have your new premises. Hopefully, many more families will receive the support and help that they need, and will have happy futures together. And thank you so much for letting me speak today as well.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. That's lovely. You are so eloquent, and you sum it up so beautifully. And I can't believe you remember the blindfold trust walk. Oh my goodness, it's been a long time actually since I've done one of those. Probably the pandemic rather stopped it. But yes, it's lovely. And I know, you know, life's had some hard challenges, but you've been incredible how you've managed it. And your lovely adoptive parents, I'm delighted they're on the screen today, have been amazing. They've been amazing. So yeah, it's wonderful to still know you, wonderful to still know them, and your support and your speech today means a huge amount to me. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm going to hand over to Dee now.
And now we have Brian and Carol Green. Brian was our panel chair, and the family was service users.
You can hear it. It's lovely to be with you this evening. I've been looking forward to this all week. A bit of a traumatic week, and there's a nice end to it. That's really good. It's finally decided what we want to say, so I think I'm going to say it. I think you're, yeah. I've been told to leave. We've got an old friend actually here that some of you might remember from another time in a different place. In Floral Place for some time and was kindly awarded to our daughter, who was so attached to that particular cuddly toy and picture. But life rarely stands still for long, and moving on is very much a theme for us. We're actually about to move home, and it's really lovely to see Family Futures taking this next really important step, moving into their forever home, the fabulous building. We've got so many memories of Family Futures experiences to look back on over more than 15 years or so, and we've experienced lots of training, been part of the team, and most importantly, being a Family Futures family with our daughter Kelly. That was some time ago now. Yeah. And it's really difficult in a few words and in a short space of time to really say how important that's all been to us. I've experienced and all those experiences that we've had at Family Futures and with Family Futures team across the year. And it's the paradox that tomorrow I'll be the same as I am today, and I'll be a bit different because I've had some new experiences today, and I've been here on school this evening. And as we're all too aware, our experiences, both good and bad, they can affect who we are and how we feel about the world and who we become, and they kind of get into our DNA a bit. And we both feel blessed that we've been part of the Family Futures story so far in different ways, and are pretty sure that there are at least a few base pairs in our DNA that actually says Family Futures all over it. Okay. Yeah, so being part of this journey has been very important to us, and we take Family Futures with us wherever we go, in a way. Yeah. And in whatever we do, and we know that it's something that has changed our lives, and being able to be there with our daughter and have therapy and all that came for us at a really crucial time. And we probably wouldn't be sitting here now. No, probably not. If it wasn't for that work and the work we did a time ago. So we're forever, thankful for that, and feel very proud for being part of the Family Futures story again. And we know that you at Family Futures will carry on sprinkling that magic Family Futures fairy dust on everyone who, comes to you and passes through your fabulous new building. And we wish you every success and onward and upwards, as they say. We wish you, send all our love, and we wish you all the best.
I'm now going to introduce Dan Hughes. And I said, actually, I don't need to introduce him because most people know who he is. Founder of DDP and longtime friend of Family Futures.
Well, thank you, Dee, and Jay, thanks for inviting me to this. It's a great honor and pleasure to be able to do something. Since I haven't seen the new building yet, I feel a little left out and a little frustrated, but I look forward to seeing it in the fall. That's really going to be a great joy. I also look forward to having a glass of wine, since I can't have it now because in America it's early in the afternoon, unlike the rest of you. The beautiful thing about Family Futures for me, okay, chaotic, that's a bit, I like chaos, so it's not chaotic to me, it's more creative. And creativity enables you to keep growing and changing and developing, not for the sake of change, but for the sake of development in which you continue to bring life to your program. Many organizations sort of dry up, become techniques, and lose spirits and lose vitality. Family Futures has never done that. And I think part of that, the beauty of the title, Family Futures, implies that it's change, it's moving into the future, it's bringing families to life more and bringing the best out of families in new and creative ways. So I really have enjoyed over the 20 years, when I come to Family Futures, I'm not just teaching, I'm learning, and I learn at least as much as I teach. So it's always a pleasure, that reciprocal relationship with really good people of all sorts, individuals, families, professionals, parents, just a really nice place to be. So thanks for those more than 20 years. Thanks for inviting me today, and I look forward to the fall.
Before I propose a toast to conclude the ceremony, I just wanted to say that we wanted to give Jay a gift to commemorate and to celebrate MBE. This is from everybody from Family Futures.
Wow. Look, did they go so well with you?
Yes, whatever you.
There's been many moving speeches, and we're not going to make another one. Though I was moved to tears on several occasions hearing people speak. I just wanted to propose a toast, really, to all of you, past, present, families and staff into the future, who have contributed to the success of Family Futures and to help create this wonderful building. And I just hope, and I'm too confident, this building will provide a warm, nurturing and therapeutic environment now and into the future. And it's our permanent home. And it feels like that Family Futures is today grown up. We're now an adult, and we have our own home, and we enjoy it.
And a mortgage.
That shows we're grown up, doesn't it? So raise your glasses and toast everybody, everything.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I shared it.
That was sweet.
Cheers.
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 Thank you all.
And thank everybody for tuning in, and thank everybody for watching us and supporting us, both at a distance. Many of you who are on here today have supported us actively for many years, some of you. So thank you all for being with us, even if it's virtual. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.